Going live. You're live. Okay, I have to waste some seconds to make sure the beginning doesn't clip off. Okay, I was watching someone else's video and they were doing a boot rotation, and I realized I can also do a boot rotation. And while illustrating a joke, I can also talk about autumn. Now, last year I got all excited about Moc-Toe-Ber. These will not necessarily be all the exact boots I wear this season, but to give you a good overview. Last year I got all excited for Moc-Toe-Ber and nobody seemed to really care all that much. So you can always go back and watch those videos, of course. And I should recap. Okay, so far I've showed the Wolverine wedge that is a Moc-Toe, and the Thorogood wedge that is also a Moc-Toe. And I've done a couple different Thorogood videos that most of you have seen, and a couple Wolverine videos that most of you have seen. And these, of course, are the Thursday Captain boots, the newer ones. This is the Thursday President boot, the not newer one that I've talked about in almost every single boot video. Seems like for one reason or another, it's been kind of my go-to for comparisons. This, of course, is an Ariat Mad Bomber Drifter, or whatever they were calling this, because it has the real leather on the top, even though it's this thin, flimsy stuff, and it has the synthetic material at the bottom, but it also has a square toe and a traditional toe bug, so a thing I like and a thing I don't. And Rambler. This was called the Rambler. I will be wearing these because they're one of my few cowboy boots from previous purchases that fit. If you've seen my old cowboy boot videos, you know. And of course, I just recently posted the video about this. This is the Maverick from Thursday. This is the reddish one, not the brownish one. I forget the name. One was called Old English, and this was called Brandy. Brandy, you're a fine girl. That was it. So Brandy with the less pointed toe, or the more pointed toe rather than the square toe, and the toe bug and the stitching, yada yada. And of course, the newer one. Also a video done recently, the Packer boot, which is like a cowboy boot, but not as pointy of a toe and not a square toe and no toe bug. But obviously it has laces, but you can see the heel. If I can twist this one without it falling over, it's easier to do it this way. So you can see it has the heel. Although I did notice one thing I didn't see when I did that video is one of the heels, the rubber's a little bit crooked. This one, yes, that has a little bit of a lip there. I don't think that would affect you very much if you were actually in a stirrup, though. But it's always fun when you run into an imperfection or whatever, or an oddity that you didn't notice when you made the video. But of course, this being the Nick's boot, I'm not showing the White's boot in black because I won't be wearing that one in autumn, or at least I don't plan on it. This being the month of brown. Brown, brown, brown. So this, of course, being the Nick's Builder Pro instead, with the logger heel instead of the cowboy heel. So again, the high stack for your arch support, which the Packer boot does have the arch support, and this boot does have the arch support, but also I had to get the quick ship model, so this one has the speed hooks instead of the eyelets, and of course the false tongue falling down here because I didn't bother to lace that up or anything. And these got some use in the spring, but not nearly enough. But the break-in has not been anywhere near what I was kind of led to expect compared to some other boots. So pretty easy to wear. Whereas these Thorogoods, I'm worried that I should have got a wider width and may never conform to break in to fit my feet as comfortably. But of course, the danger The wider width as the heel becomes wider. So with the Packer boot, I got the wider heel, as you can slightly see compared to the other one. I tried to do this before. So this being the Packer boot, this being the Logger boot. I don't know if you can see any real difference, but they might wear slightly differently. This one's creasing a little bit more along the whole length of the thing, whereas the wider width ones, you can't really see any creasing yet. It'll be a lot more obvious when I show the next boot, but instead of back along here, they want to kind of bubble more toward here, and I don't know if that's normal or something that's going to be an issue or whatever, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I decided to get a slightly wider width than that since I was getting a slightly narrower toe look for a cowboy look, but I didn't go with there's an R toe and a J toe, or I didn't go with the J toe to get the typical more pointy true cowboy look, which of course would be even more pointy than this in many cases. Okay, so now that we've covered that, and then of course we have the OT boot, which may or may not get subbed in as often as some of the others. I've kind of decided that I'm likely to get this boot rebuilt in either a narrower width with the taller heel than this and the correct midsole instead of this shaved down midsole. And I wasn't really necessarily crazy about the rough out. This was just what was kind of available. But this upper leather is very thick. It's very sturdy. But you can see where it's creasing more toward the front there. Maybe you can see it better here. I took pictures of this, and might have been the other shoe. I don't remember if it was the right or the left. But I did put pictures of this in the community posts not too long ago to kind of show that off, that sort of trait or issue, depending. And of course, another one where I got the honey outsole instead of the black. So that's my slight recap and my rotation, and my big Moc-Toe-Ber surprise, like I said, is that I'm not buying any more Moc-Toe-Ber boots. That recently or currently or soon, because I already have several. And these new Wolverines I might try and wear instead of the other brown ones that I already wore. But I did videos about that already, like I said. So yeah, the Moc-Toe-Ber surprises. There is no like total Moc-Toe-Ber this year, but I'm going to try and really get some use in these finally. And I also have the steel-toed version. I have videos about that. Many of you will have already seen that video, because that was one of the ones that people really watched, I think, if memory serves. And of course, the thinner, flimsier laces, we'll see how long those last, and yada, yada, yada. And of course, I will be wearing a fair amount of Thursday boots, especially while the temperature is really warm. I might go with more of the service boot style, lower, instead of the 8 and 10 uppers. Of course, cowboy boots, I prefer the taller shaft than the roper ones, somewhere in there. So I'll just have to suffer when I decide to give these a go, because of course I really want to compare these to the Packer boots in terms of how they wear and such, because like I said, this has lacing and this does not. And yet in cowboy boots, we never seem to really have a problem walking around with them just flying off or anything. But for really walking and stuff, I would think you would actually want the more ankle support instead of the considerations of riding in a horse saddle. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, this was necessarily not a totally informative video. Like I said, this is kind of, a callback or a throwback to the other videos where if you need a little more info, but you can always ask questions in the comments, and there will be, like I said, some new boots forthcoming, but they won't be this style. They won't be the Russells. Maybe Russell next year. I want to see if the hype is, you know, warranted or not, but I'm not in a hurry to buy them since I already have a bunch of boots to get through. That some of them I know you've been waiting for those update reviews, those, you know, 6-month or year reviews that other people get to maybe more regularly than I do, but I've seen a couple boot channels where they really leave you hanging. They promise that review and it never ever comes, and I really don't want to be that channel. I really want to get into them and you know, even if it's just walking around the block, at least get a sense of how they fit, if they're accurate on their website, how durable they really are compared to how they look, that kind of thing. So, okay, that'll be, I know I've pumped out a bunch of videos lately, so if the longer I make this one, the less like you're going to be able to get back and watch one of those other ones. But I think I have several that, you know, and I have an unboxing of that other Nix one that isn't in this lineup that may or may not get rotated in. Only like 10 people have watched that video for some reason. I don't know why. So maybe this video should have just been another video about that boot, and then maybe more people would see it. I don't know.